Chapter 7 of 7, making a transparent avatar for Spatial that visitors can use as their Planet Walker Animal Spirit Guide to bring Florida wildlife to the safest animal crossings.
Now that we know that we can swap out an animal for the golf cart, we can make any animal drivable, though if they're small, it will look awkward. So what we need is some kind now of spirit avatar, what I call the Animal Walker, or Animal Spirit Walker, who you can become, a transparent, ghostly version of yourself that can inhabit the animal of your choice and let you guide it along the path. So, creating the transparent, ghostly Animal Spirit Walker to guide the bear. Here's a tutorial from Spatial on custom avatars. Here's another tutorial. Watch them, and then try this. To start, we will use another of the Spatial SDK prefabs, the scripted Spatian avatar. We simply drag it in from the examples folder. Now this time, we aren't going to be publishing an entire scene, but only an avatar for use in Spatial. So in configuration, I'm going to create a new avatar and click Create and give it a name. I'll choose Animal Walker Spirit.
So here, just like when you were creating a scene for Spatial, we're creating an avatar. So we're using a different package, using an avatar package, and we're giving it a name, and we're picking the scene, and we are going to put in a thumbnail. But there's always going to be these errors. Fortunately, some of them have auto fixes available, and so you execute, and it fixes those. Let's again make sure that the active package is the one that we are using. This one's called Avatar Spatian, and give it a name that we want, which in our case is going to be Animal Walker Spirit. And then we have to make sure that we have the right thumbnail.
Okay, here's where it gets tricky. See, unfortunately, when I go to test the avatar that they provided, it gives me an error message. It says the avatar uses too much texture memory. So now, reducing file and texture size in Unity for spatial export. I have to reduce the size of the Spatian textures, it appears. And since I don't want to damage the original, I go into the hierarchy and I make a copy of the Avatar Spatian folder and open its textures folder and set about reducing the size of each texture in the folder. It appears that some are set at 512 and some are a whopping 2048. I'm reducing each to a meager 64 because I don't need such high quality imagery for something that's basically going to be a ghost. When you click off of it, you'll be asked to apply the new settings. But it's more than that. It appears you have to do that for all the max sizes for all platforms, default, PC, override, Android web, so you can select them all at once in the assets folder and change them and hit apply. What that does now is merely create a low-res copy of each texture. The next trick, this is a trip, is to open up your avatar's prefab and assign those low-res textures to the parts. You can learn more from this tutorial. And I watch a lot of tutorials to figure out these unorthodox steps so that we can use Unity and Spatial for our Florida Wildlife Corridor project. Now, when you test your Spatian ghost animal spirit walker, you'll see there are no issues found, finally.
but not so fast. First we see that there's an unapplied import setting error. We hit apply and that fixes that. But then we see that the bundle asset is not located. It's looking for a name, and so we need to find how to locate that bundle asset. And that flummoxed me for a long time until I went to the Discord channel of Spatial and looked up the problem, and somebody else had not only the same problem, but they found a solution. So I tested their solution out, and what that involves is clicking on the prefab of the Spatial itself, and you'll see me do that right here. And once you click on that prefab, then down at the bottom you see custom avatar on the right, and you can see that you have to change the name of the asset bundle from none to Spatial 0 or whatever it calls it. It can't be none. So there's the asset bundle name, and once that asset bundle name has been named, then you can go and test the active package, and as you can see, it works.
Of course, the resolution is much, much lower, but that's fine for our purposes because we're going to make it a ghost anyway. So, testing a new avatar in the My Sandbox test area and publishing to your Spatial account. We hit Test Active Package to launch My Sandbox and verify that all is in order. The avatar can even dance. Yeah. So now we're going to hit Publish to upload it to Spatial for us and for other users. When we do, it moves the avatar to the center of the screen and gives us a window telling us it has been published, and we will get an email telling us, usually after about 15 minutes, but sometimes much quicker, within a few minutes, if things worked out. That's nice of them. Mine uploaded within 5 minutes. So when I open my SDG16 world, for example, I find my John Francis Planetwalker default avatar, and if I click on the picture at the bottom right, I note that I can edit and change my avatar. Editing and changing your avatar in Spatial. From there, you can select the Animal Walker Spirit Spatial we just uploaded. Now, making a transparent Spirit Walker variant of your new avatar. To start messing with this character, I change its name to Spatial Animal Walker Spirit in the hierarchy in Unity, and drag it into the Assets area to make a variant of a prefab. This is the one I want to make transparent, to make and ghost-like. I can edit the prefab by clicking on the little arrow to the right of its name in the hierarchy. Everything else in the world gets grayed out. That tells me I'm in prefab editing. Now select each material used in the avatar and change the shader to one of the transparent shaders. You can search for it using the search field. You adjust the transparency by going to the opacity slider down under the shader. Once all the materials are at a transparency or opacity level you like, you can go out of the prefab editor and click on that little arrow in the hierarchy again. I make another prefab variant from it called Spatial Animal Walker Spirit Transparent.prefab, and this is now the one I'm going to test and then upload to Spatial. Tests out good. A ghostly explorer from another dimension. When I upload it, we see we can toggle between the normal Ready Player Me avatar of John Francis Planetwalker and this Animal Walker Spirit. Excellent. We can now go into the world where we have the drivable bear, and pilot it with our spirit avatar. So what was formerly a character sitting on the bear, causing it a lot of backache, becomes a spirit who weighs nothing, is merely the bear guide, the spirit guide of the bear. So now that we know that we as creators of the space can change into a ghostly spirit avatar and then pilot another animal to begin to see through their eyes, wouldn't it be cool if any visitor to our space could have the same experience? So enabling anybody to turn into your custom avatar. It turns out they can. It just involves a little bit of visual scripting. I learned it from the Spatial tutorial here, because I've never done it before, but it's pretty straightforward if you follow these steps. First, make that empty game object we talked about. So make another empty game object and drag your animal walker spirit prefab into it as its child. Okay. Adding a spatial interactable component. So next we add a spatial interactable to it. That comes from a menu under the spatial options. So I make the name that the players will see become an animal walker spirit. And I set the icon type to charge and the radius of interactability to 3. We want to move the interaction radius circle above our character like a halo. This is where the press F to interact button will appear. We don't want it to collide with the avatar. Now, adding a script to an interactable using the script machine. Now to make it interactable, we're going to add a component called a script machine. When we click on New, it will let us make a new folder, which we call Scripts, that will reside in the project folder and in which we will save a script called Animal Walker Spirit Picker. When we click on Edit Graph, it will open a window with 2 nodes in it, which we can promptly delete. After deleting, right-click in the blank space and search for Spatial Interactable, and then select Spatial Interactable on Interact. We want to add 2 nodes. First is the Spatial Interactable on Interact event, and we want to draw out an arrow and connect it to Spatial's local actor set avatar. Getting it using a SKU number to call spatial objects and change avatars. SKU, SKU, stands for Stock Keeping Unit, and as the name suggests, it is a number, usually 8 alphanumeric digits, that retailers assign to products to keep track of stock levels internally. If a product has different colors and sizes, each variation has a unique SKU number. Each object published and uploaded to Spatial has a SKU associated with it. And we want to connect the SKU port, the orange dot on the left, to a string literal into which we can paste the SKU number of the avatar we published, and we can access it. We can get the SKU from the active package SKU and hit copy, then paste it in the string literal field. Now we need to save the entire scene and publish the scene to Spatial with the new ghostly avatar and his change script. Let's test the active scene first. Behold, now I am the animal walker spirit. What's best is that I can now get on the bear as a spirit and drive. Become the bear whisperer. My animal walker spirit is now a part of the bear, guiding her actions, helping to steer her away from danger. Now that is cool. What's even cooler is that now anybody who visits the animal walker spirit avatar space can transform themselves too and work toward guiding our precious wildlife toward the corridor. Hooray! We've now created a bear based on the golf cart prefab that you can approach and ask permission to guide. Since we did all the parenting and script modifying, we now want to be able to share this interactable object with our team at the University of Idaho under the tutelage of XR specialist and Indigenous knowing storyteller and agent of empowerment, Professor John Anderson. We don't want anyone to have to reinvent the wheel, since our job is to get people's mental wheels turning and save wildlife with great urgency.